engaging celebrity interviews, exciting updates from Christian filmmakers, movie reviews so you can choose your movies wisely, and so much more here on Faith on Film with Isaac Hernandez and Holly McClure.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Faith on Film. I am your host, Isaac Hernandez, and I'm flying solo today. Holly is not available this week, but don't worry. I have a great interview that she did a few days ago that I'm going to share with you. She interviewed filmmaker Tom Trese. So make sure to stick around because you don't want to miss that interview. But I am so honored today to have on the show a longtime friend. He is, of course, the founder of the Dove Foundation. That's Dick Rolfe. And he's here to tell us all about that journey into forming the Dove Foundation. But he also has some great news for us today. So here we go with how you doing, and welcome to Faith on Film, Dick.
Well, thanks, Isaac. And by the way, thanks for calling me a longtime friend and not an old friend.
Well, yeah, I know. Long time could mean 5 years, 10 years. Although it's actually more like 20, but okay. Well, you were very young when we first met. How's that?
Yeah.
So listen, now, Faith on Film does something that I believe is very important, and that is that we, of course, promote Christian films and television shows and documentaries that are out there because we want people to support these programs, these productions. But we also do reviews on Hollywood movies that are being promoted to families, because some might be good for families, some might not be so good, and some are downright terrible for families. So we want people to at least be informed so that they can make the right decision. As Holly always says, choose your movies wisely. But you have been doing this for a long time, in essence, with the Dove Foundation and what you had, which was called the Dove Seal of Approval. Can you just tell us a little bit first about yourself and that whole journey into the Dove Foundation?
Well, I'll try and keep it down to under a half hour. So, actually, it all started back in 1970 when my wife and I were concerned about the advent of video stores in the neighborhood, and we thought, oh my gosh, video stores are coming in. Our kids are going to be able to get access to titles without our pre-selection. And that worried us no end. And so we thought, well, we can't ban them from watching videos or watching movies. Kids are pro-choice. They like to be able to control some of their choices. So my wife and I decided to go to the local video store and to see what was there. And we walked into a local video store called Family Video, if you can believe that. And we found that they had alphabetized the videos instead of putting them in by genre. And so we walked down the aisle and we saw Bambi. Oh, that's wonderful. And then right next to it was Basic Instinct. We thought, oh my gosh, this is not a family-friendly video store. And we imagined our kids bringing things home, and we thought, oh, this is not good. So we decided to create a list of movies that we felt we could authorize and approve them to watch. And so we didn't realize the size of that undertaking at first. So we asked some friends at church if they would help us. And within about a month's time, we had over 2,000 videos that we had collectively put together. And we called that the Dove list. And we used the word Dove as a symbol of the Holy Spirit being the inspiration and the standard that we were looking toward for evaluating a film in terms of its content. And we looked at sex, language, violence, drug and alcohol use, and respect for authority. Those were the content. So we put that list together and we circulated the list, and we made it up in a booklet. And we had thousands of phone calls come in from people, and a member of my church was a Associated Press reporter, and she wrote a story about us and about this Dove list, and we had no idea where that was going, but it ended up in every newspaper in the country associated with Associated Press. And we had thousands of phone calls. By the way, they included my 800 number from my office. And so we had a lot of phone calls come in. And we finally decided that, God has something in mind beyond just friends and family. So we went to a couple of local Christian philanthropists, and we bared our story to them, and they found it interesting, and they concurred that maybe this was something that God had ordained, and so they gave us some funding, and we started the nonprofit Dove Foundation. Again, respective of the dove symbol for the Holy Spirit. And we didn't know where that was going to go. All we knew was that we wanted to influence the making and the watching of home entertainment. And but we were living in Muskegon, Michigan, and we had no idea how we were going to affect people in Hollywood, until I got a phone call from a young lady who was the president of the Hollywood Anti-Pornography Coalition. And she said, we read this story about you, and we would like to interview you and bring you out to Hollywood and award you an award for the top anti-pornography organization of the year. So I went out there, fine. And it was in the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, and I'd never been to Hollywood, so I didn't know where it was. And I was driving down the street, wondering if I'd ever find it. And then I looked, and all of a sudden I saw this sign up over the top of a building flashing called Roosevelt Hotel. And I thought, oh, that must be it. I went in there, and Rebecca Gibson was the host, and she met me in the lobby, and we walked into the main room, which was, by the way, it was the original site of the Oscars in 1929, I think it was. And I walked in, and there was a couple hundred people in the auditorium seated at dining tables. And then there was this head table on the dais. And I looked up, and I saw, those are pretty influential people. She said, yeah, well, one of them is Lloyd Ogilvie, the senior pastor at Hollywood Presbyterian Church. And the other one is the Cardinal Roger Mahoney, the Archbishop of the Los Angeles Archdiocese. And I thought, well, then who's the third chair for? She said, you, dummy. So, okay. So I got up there, and they gave me this Homer Young Award. And I went up to receive it, and I walked up and stood in front of the microphone boldly, opened my mouth, and I could not say a word. Isaac, wow. I had what they call hysterical laryngitis. Nothing came out. So I whispered into the microphone, thank you very much for this award. I want to thank you. And by the way, for those of you who don't know me, I sound just like him. And I pointed to Lloyd Ogilvie, who has this beautiful voice. And I said, and for those of you who can't see well, I look just like him too. So, anyways.
So you were a comedian too.
Got a laugh out of the crowd. And she introduced me to the people in the audience. And lo and behold, many of them were Christian filmmakers, studio executives, and people that I never could have met in 100 years, going door to door. So it was pretty amazing.
Wow. Now, actually, the Dove's seal of approval became so important that if I remember correctly, in Christian bookstores, they wouldn't even accept movies anymore unless they had your Dove seal of approval. I think that's correct, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It turned out, it was really interesting. Les Dietzman, who was the president of Family Christian Stores at the time, he called me up one day, and he said, Dick, he said, we got a problem. He said, there are no Dove seals on Faith films. And I said, well, that's kind of redundant, isn't it? I mean, if it's a godly film, certainly it ought to be a godly content. Right. He said, yeah, but the problem is you have just bifurcated us out of the business, because we want to put video rental in our Family Christian Stores. And so we need the Dove seal. Wow. I had to immediately adjust course and start reviewing movies that were faith-friendly. Mm-hmm. And so that's when we added the Dove seal on Christian films, and that's what got us into the Christian film market.
That is awesome. Now, this show is too short for you to tell us your entire story, because I've read, well, and here's the good news, by the way, that you're going to be sharing, and that is that you've written a book. You've written your memoirs.
Yeah.
And I've read it, by the way. You sent me the manuscript and enjoyed it quite a bit. There was so much there that I didn't know about you. And I think people should know this because there's so much more of you to unpack. Now, the book is not out yet. It's not published yet. But you're from what I understand, you're making your the manuscript available to people if they want?
Yes, I am. I have a manuscript here, and the picture on the front will make sense when you read the story.
Okay.
But it's called Unfilmed, and the reason it's called Unfilmed is because I spent 25 years in Hollywood and never made a movie. So, but it is my life story from ground till now.
And how can people get this?
And by the way,
this manuscript? Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to add, if any of your listeners or viewers want to get a copy of the manuscript before it's released in publication, they can write me at Dick Rolfe, DickRolfe, @gmail.com. And I'll be able to work out an arrangement with them, and we'll get them a copy. It might be a small amount for the coverage of the printing and the distribution, but not very much, maybe $10 or $15.
That is fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, it says Unfilmed. You've titled it Unfilmed, but I really have a feeling that your story should be filmed, because as I read it, again, there was so much of you that I learned, and it's all very interesting and exciting. People you've met. It needs to become a film, so it may not be unfilmed forever. How's that, Dick?
That would be wonderful. that would be my wife's dream.
That was prophetic from me. Well, Dick, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, folks, don't forget, you can get that manuscript of a wonderful story of Dick Rolfe and have it before it even goes to print. You'll have an actual manuscript before it becomes a book. Thank you, Dick, once again, and looking forward to seeing your film.
Thank you, Isaac. My best to you in Hollywood. You're doing a wonderful job with Faith on Film.
Thank you. Folks, we'll be right back after these messages. Have you been enjoying our show, Faith on Film? We sure do enjoy bringing you information every week on what is happening in and around the world of faith and family entertainment, with interviews with some of the best faith and family filmmakers, to reviews of the Hollywood movies being marketed to you so that you can choose your movies wisely. But we cannot do this alone. That is why we are launching the Faith on Film Champion campaign. One definition of a champion is an individual who passionately supports, defends, and fights for a cause. What is a Faith on Film champion? Well, it is an opportunity for you to partner with us and help us continue to bring these great shows to you every week. To learn more about becoming a Faith on Film champion, just visit our website, faithonfilmtv.com. That's faithonfilmtv.com. There you will find all the information you need to become a Faith on Film champion. And now, let's get back to our show. Welcome back to Faith on Film. Well, as promised, I want to share with you an interview that Holly did with filmmaker Tom Trese. Now, Tom is the writer and producer of a film called The Heroes. Now, the film is not ready yet, but I want to show you a trailer, and then from there, we'll go on to Holly with Tom.
Wait. Was he talking about some sort of sting? Sting. As if we are. I'm totally in. I've always wanted to take down one of these TV weasels.
Do you need help?
I need a miracle.
What kind?
A big one.
Who's he?
That's Reverend Mike Tillotson. He's real good.
I've seen a lot of these religious predators take advantage of vulnerable people, take their money, crush their faith.
They prey on the weak and vulnerable, take the life savings from them.
I agree, it would be good to expose this guy. The Bible talks about how false prophets can lead the faithful astray.
Okay,
Mike. Can I tell my story?
With me is Tom Trese. Now, you just saw the trailer for The Heroes, and it looks very exciting and very interesting. And with us today, we have Tom himself, who wrote this book and then wanted to produce it and make it into a movie. So, Tom, welcome to Faith on Film.
Thank you so much, Holly.
Okay, a little
uh,
background on you. Who are you, and why did you decide to write this book and make this movie?
I'm a retired neurologist. I worked in Fort Worth for 38 years. But in retirement, I felt called to explore my creative side and write things. I never read books, fiction books, but I did read a lot of newspapers and saw the problems in America in particular. And I was drawn to show people that God is still really working, and he works in ordinary people to do extraordinary things. So the book is about 10 everyday Christians who have done heroic things and are summoned to Nashville to receive Faith Hero Awards from a good Christian network. And they meet in a lobby, and they go into the lobby bar, and they see this woman who's crying profusely about her mother who has cancer, and looking up at this fake, phony faith healer who is promising cures for just the right price. Is just a terrible guy, and they all are disgusted by him, decide to do a sting to take him down. So I really like that. That's the first part. The second part, the heroes do other things, but I thought, man, this would make a great movie, which is what I wanted to do in the beginning. My editor was writing the book, said, you got to write the book first before you write the screenplay. So I did that. And then, but to write the screenplay, I came to Capernaum. I had heard about Capernaum from a person at our church. And going to the content, that wonderful festival that you have every September. And so I loaded up on workshops there. Leanne Barna taught the screenwriting part, and she's a wonderful woman to work with, takes you wherever you are and encourages you, a wonderful job. And so I spent a couple of years going to Capernaum and to content and just drinking in the whole wonderful atmosphere there of encouragement and support. And so finally, I got the script done, and in 24, I submitted it to a bunch of film festivals, and I got, I think, 12, and I was nominated for Best Feature Film Script in 7 film festivals across the country.
Wow.
6 of them were secular, and one of them was Christian. Yeah, I was very impressed. Very happy that it was mainly secular, because I'm looking to find the unchurched and those who have been hurt by the church rather than just the practicing Christians. So that was wonderful, and it was actually nominated for best at content that year. Didn't win. The next year, I heard that it was wise to do a POC, a short film, to show investors what it was like. And so I called Tammy Lane. Tammy I'd met at Content and said, how should I do this? And so she put me in touch with Preston, who put me in touch with Roni Hummel, the wonderful casting director, who just loved my script and gave me these auditions from all these actors, and they're wonderful actors that I would never have met without Capernaum. And she also, he told us about the sound stage and the wonderful green screen, the huge green screen, and Dane Noble, who's a genius, who runs it and can put anything in the world. So he put the lobby bar. It's incredible what he did. And it just made the whole proof of concept film just wonderful. So there was that, and also working with Cinemammoth. I'd never heard of them before, but they had worked on some stuff. I saw some of the work that they had done on some other films. Ryan T. Johnson and Corey Cannon are the two that had those, and those guys are just wonderful to work with. Everyone's supportive. It was a wonderful 2-day shoot, and so after that was done, I put the POC in some film festivals, and it won Best Short Film at the LA International Cinema Awards last fall. So between the POC and the winning, though, we decided to do a TikTok and Instagram campaign. So I found a wonderful young social media consultant called Tatum Murray, and she guided us through these ads. So I shot some ads, 20 or 30-second ads of characters, of the actors coming in character to Nashville, and just as, why are you in Nashville? And so they could tell something about their past. And so those ads over 5 weeks got over 670,000 views. It's insane, wonderful, and strong engagement.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing.
Good for you. That's a great way to do it. Wow.
Thank you. And then so I'm building the audience, and so in order to get distribution, Ronnie Hummel said, American film market, you really should go. And I said, what is it? And so I went out there to LA, and I don't know if you've been, Holly, but it's you go in this hotel, and there's 11 floors. They've emptied out all the rooms, taken all the beds out. They're all offices. And you're like a first guy, day of school, and you got your little packet, and as an independent filmmaker, you're walking around, knocking on doors, say, would you like to see my script? And they say, well, no. And so, but here's a god deal. So I'm getting off the elevator one day, and these two kids in ball caps and T-shirts get off, and they don't look really impressive. And they say, what are you here for? And I said, well, I'm an independent filmmaker looking for distribution. He said, well, you should look at Film Hub. And I said, what's Film Hub? And they said, well, give it a try. And so the next day I go downstairs to where they're eating, and there's a couple tables, there's IMDb, and there's Film Hub. And so I go up and talk to the woman, and her eyes get real big. And the next day I had a letter of intent from Film Hub to distribute the film after it's completed, which is insane. It's exactly what I wanted. And it's wonderful because it's not tied into one streaming entity. They can move it however they want. They get 20% of the revenue. I get 80%, which is fabulous. And so that was taken care of. So we had a lot going on, going through the end of 2025. This year, decided that another great thing would be to do podcasts in a way of showing the wonderful actors that we have, not only to tell them about the characters that they play in the heroes, but the other things they've done, the project they've done, and the wonderful job Capernaum has done for all of them and me in making this project work. I had Ronnie Hummel on at the end, and we talked about the industry, and it was just a wonderful time. So that's where we are now. I'm hoping to turn this, the Heroes, into a franchise after the success of this film, which we hope we will be shooting later this year. And so if anybody has any interest in the event and the project, I would suggest contacting me at tracebooks44@gmail.com. That's TRESC. It's spelled funny. TRESCBOOKS 44@gmail.com. If you email me, I can send you a landing page, and it's a little thing that's got 4 buttons on it. The top button will send you to the POC, which is on YouTube. The next button will send you to all the podcasts, which are on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And so, and then you'll get a chance to look at. There's also a spot if you want to buy this book, which here it is that I wrote 2 years ago, or just email me. So that's what I would suggest. I would love to hear from any of you, and blessings to all.
Well, thank you so much. Gosh, you did a lot of legwork for this, and it sounds like it was smart legwork that you did went through all the steps and that you won those script. You're right. With Christians, it's one thing, but when you send it to a secular and they choose it, that's a whole different kind of badge of honor. Well, thank you so much, Tom, for being with us, and I love how you explain what happened at Capernaum, because they do sponsor this show, and we do like to. And I work for Capernaum, so I like to talk about all the good things that happen at Capernaum.
Yeah.
So this is This is a wonderful nod to what they can do with your dream and your vision. If you have a dream and vision, how they can steer you to the right people. And I feel like that was a great part of your story. Hopefully this will help other people who may be wanting to make a movie, who have an idea like this. How do you go forward? That's really a great testimony. And then also the God factor of how God works to get this idea out.
Yeah. Waiting for the next thing. That's a little hard, but I'm getting used to it. I guess it's because I'm older. I'm okay to just sit there for a while. So just
Well, as it's an old expression, but it's so true. Making a movie is not a race; it's a marathon, and it takes a lot of laps and a lot of time. And thank you so much for being with us today. I so appreciate you and appreciate the time. And best to the heroes. We hope this becomes a major success. Come back on when it's released and people can see it.
Thank you so much, Ali. I will.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
What makes Capernaum Studios different from other movie studios? We believe in empowering filmmakers to make stories that matter, inspire, uplift, and transform lives. From historically authentic sets to state-of-the-art, fully equipped sound stages, we offer immersive LED and green screen stages, ICVFX virtual production, period to modern sets, a first-century village featured in The Chosen, and much more. We provide everything filmmakers need to focus on what matters in making their vision a reality, producing meaningful content affordably without compromising creativity. Discovering what's possible when creativity meets purpose. Capernaum Studios, empowering filmmakers to make dreams a reality.
Welcome back, everybody. We have come to the end of today's show. I sure hope you enjoyed it. Now, I'm very excited about next week's show because we've got a couple as our guest who have produced a wonderful, very controversial documentary. You don't want to miss that interview because it deals with a subject that really kind of everybody, especially Christians, are kind of, some are for it, some are not for it, but you want to know what it is all about. So that's next week here on Faith on Film. I do want to invite you to check out our website, faithonfilmtv.com. That's faithonfilmtv.com. You will learn all about Holly and myself, our vision for this program. You'll see a lot of our past shows on there. You can tune into any one of those shows that you've missed. And there's also a lot of interviews that Holly has done with Hollywood-type people, Hollywood stars that you can watch from there. And also, you know what? Write us. We'd love to hear from you. Write us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. Again, don't miss next week's show here on Faith on Film. Thank you and goodbye.
Write to us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Faith on Film TV. Also, visit our website, faithonfilmtv.com. That's faithonfilmtv.com, where you'll find links to all of our past shows and much more.